Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sharmit podcast. Today I'm here with another special guest, Margaret Kamau, who is joining us today from all the way Turkey. Margaret is first Kenyan woman to earn the title of Microsoft Most Valuable Professional in the Cloud Security category. Margaret's journey into the world of information security and technology is nothing short of inspiring because her leadership in the community based tech programs and efforts to uplift women and young professionals in cybersecurity have made a lasting impact. So, today in this episode, we will dive into her incredible journey through the world of technology and examine her profound influence of the IT industry. But before we start the discussion, I would like to thank Margaret for joining us today in this episode. And now I request you to please initiate the discussion by telling us something about yourself.
Okay, so first of all, I'm humbled to be hosted in this platform. Like you've heard, my name is Margaret Kamau, and I'm passionate about tech communities and more so cybersecurity. And that's how I even got the Microsoft MVP award for cloud security. So I love giving back to the community through leadership, volunteering, mentoring, and even providing opportunities for other people to grow, for other people to gain skills, and even for them to gain skills that will give them careers, whether it's being employed, whether it's getting their own businesses, or even joining startups. Besides that, I love learning new things. And this thing about me learning new things has led me to join different industries. I have joined the telecommunications industry, and through that, I have transformed from being an IT graduate to a telecommunications engineer doing radio network planning and optimization. And also, I have done that for close to 2 years. And then through my process of learning new things, I have also joined the logistics and freight forwarding industry. I love to document all these processes and my journey through my blog, Shiko the Tech Girl.
Okay.
And all these things that I do are summed up in Shiko the Tech Girl, which is my brand.
Okay. All right. So let's start the discussion with your career journey and motivation. So could you please tell us like what inspired you to pursue a career in the information security and technology? And was there any defining moment that solidified your passion for these area?
Okay, that's an interesting question. Since growing up, I have always loved repairing things. So things like remotes, bulbs,
Mm-hmm.
and even exploring features of phones. So phones belonging to my siblings, to my parents, just knowing how they work and just trying to go a step further. So with that, I knew I will end up in a field like electrical engineering or something of the sort. And then when I was 14 or 15, the
Mm-hmm.
top performers in our school had an opportunity to visit Safaricom, which is a telecommunications company in Kenya. So with that, I got to see how telecommunications work, and that even piqued my interest. So going to university, I didn't get the opportunity of pursuing these two engineering courses. But since my parents, that is my dad, had seen my passion for computing and doing all these things, then he thought the closest match could be information technology or computer science, and that's how I ended up in IT. And then throughout this process of university, I was watching a lot of hacking videos and how people could do penetration testing into different systems, and that really piqued my interest.
Okay.
So when I was about 19, I got the opportunity to attend a 2 day cybersecurity bootcamp. And that's
Mm-hmm.
when I came to know about cybersecurity, since before I only knew it as hacking. But then after that, I knew of all these fields in cybersecurity and information security, and I gained more interest in it since the 2 days were really thrilling. So fast forward to 2020 when COVID happened, and I had all the time and all the free learning resources that were flowing around during that time. And I started learning about cybersecurity and information security and on my own. And one
Okay.
thing that I struggle with is consistency. But when I was learning cybersecurity now on my own, I will do 2 hours a day, and then tomorrow I still want to do more. I had a whole month of consistency, and that moment solidified it. And the thrill and the satisfaction that I could get from doing all these things, learning about cybersecurity, trying to learn about penetration testing, that solidified it for me that I should be in cybersecurity.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, Margaret, as we all know that you are the first female Microsoft MVP in Kenya in cloud category, right? Cloud security category. So, can you share
Yes.
what this recognition means to you and how it has impacted your career?
Okay. So, firstly, you see, when you do community development work in tech, you don't do it since you want people to see it. You do it since you know that
Right.
you have to give back, and you know how people are struggling to get into the right path, and you
Correct.
know that you have to do it. But then when someone else sees that work and they award you, it's really an honor. And what that has done for me is giving me a greater opportunity and a greater, let me say, a greater table to give back to, since I have the right people behind me. I have other MVPs. I have the Microsoft community to back all these things that I'm passionate about, and all these processes and things that I want to do, organizing events, mentoring, giving people certifications to better their skills. So that's a really nice thing to have.
Okay. And throughout your so far journey, like you have been also involved in community engagement and mentorship. Because if I talk about particularly about the community-based tech program, so you have been involved in a leading community-based tech program for mentoring the peers in cybersecurity. So what motivates you to give back to the community? Although like that is your passion that you want to give and share your knowledge back to the industry, but what impact do you hope to make with such kind of initiatives?
Okay, so like I said, my journey into cybersecurity was self-led, and
Yes.
I had people that supported me directly and indirectly. And there was a time that I thought I could do it on my own, but what
Mm-hmm.
this did, it doubled the time that I took to do things, to like understand concepts, to get one skill, or just get skills. So I love doing community development work with the impacts that hoping the impact is shortening the time that people take to maybe learn new skills or identify paths they want to be in, or even just be sure that they're doing the right thing. So that's really something impactful for people who are starting, and also just guiding them to the right direction, providing learning resources that directs them to the right side, and it gives them confidence that they're doing the right thing, which cuts out time of just like circling around. It puts them in the right direction.
Okay. So, Margaret, like during your initial days, what were some of the challenges you have observed among women and young professionals entering to the field of cybersecurity? Because you might also face some kind of challenges. So, how do
Mm.
your program help to address those kind of challenges while entering to the cybersecurity field?
Okay, so I have mentioned that I love mentoring people, and I love helping people in their learning process.
Mm-hmm.
And I know in the industry, it's not that people will come and ask you for help, that I want help in
Correct.
maybe pursuing a certain path. Sometimes you, as a senior, you're the one who identifies that this person needs help and they need this sort of help. So instead of waiting for people to come to me, I give them the open space to like be confident and be comfortable that they can always come to me with their problems, and they can always ask questions wherever they are stuck. And the other thing that I try to do is to just check whatever they have in their hands first, instead of
Mm-hmm.
dictating that they should do this and this, try to follow this path, get these certifications. I try to look what they have in their hands, and then we start from there. With whatever they have in their hands, I'm able to know that this person needs skills or they need guidance up to this point. This person, maybe they don't even need technical guidance, they need more of support in soft skills. So just checking whatever things they need, and also not having a structure that works for everyone, having a structure that is defined per person and not a one size fits it all kind of thing.
Okay. All right. And if we talk about the public speaking and outreach, so you have spoken at a variety of tech events from Microsoft Student Summit Africa to Women Tech Makers. So, what has been your most memorable speaking engagement and why it was so memorable for you?
Okay, so there are a lot, but I'll try to find one.
Yeah.
One thing that people don't, a lot of people don't note is that when you are invited to speak somewhere or when you offer to speak, you don't just prepare slides, you also do some research and
Correct.
also
Right.
try to think of questions, yeah, think of questions that people might ask. So I have mentioned that I have been privileged to be in the telecommunications industry, and one of the things that I learned there is 5G. So I
Mm-hmm.
did this talk about 5G and cybersecurity. So how cybersecurity is in 5G, and the types of attacks or vulnerabilities that can be in 5G. So just explaining to these people what is 5G, how they receive the basic connection on their phone, that was really impressive. Just since in cybersecurity and in tech, we're used to networking, which only stops at routers and switches. But then what's but then this talk focused more like 5G, how people are able to receive connection and its capabilities, and how all these technologies still have vulnerabilities. So that was really awesome.
Okay. So, how was your first experience when you firstly attended the in-person event as a speaker? So, were you nervous at that time, or how were the things?
Okay, the first time that I did a physical event
Live
as a
event.
speaker.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, okay. It was, I remember the topic was personal branding in tech.
Uh-huh.
And it was these conferences where you have a breakout room, and I had a room full of people. So that was my first event. And I remember for that event, I used humor to distract myself from getting tensed
Okay.
and getting anxious. But it was really awesome how the attendees appreciated what I presented to them, especially an important topic like personal branding in tech. And the examples were just easy to give and very interactive with the audience.
Okay. All right. And your talk at the Google Developer Student Club, which was focused on guiding beginners in penetration testing, right? So, how do you simplify those kind of complex cybersecurity concepts for those just who started their career in this domain?
Okay. Um, it's very hard for a beginner to understand
Hmm.
all these complex things. And it's not that their mind can't comprehend complex things. And I understand that. And the first thing I always ensure is to have a structure, since having a structure enables me not to kill the attendees or the audience with too much information, since that in itself is discouraging for beginners, since
Hmm.
it makes them overwhelmed. So having a structure, knowing what I'm supposed to cover from A to Z. And then from there, having milestones that will track progress. So by this time, if you have learned from A to B, then at C, we should have a milestone to track progress. And then the other important thing is checking on the amount of time that we have. So with time, I know this content fits for 1 hour, this content fits for a 1 week boot camp. So having those three is really important for me, and also ensuring that I don't give too much resources that end up confusing the
Okay.
beginner.
All right. Okay, so let's talk bit about the leadership and gender diversity in IT industry. So as a female leader in the male dominated field, how do you navigate challenges related to gender bias, and what advice would you like to give to other women looking to excel into the tech industry now?
Okay, so first of all, it's really sad that things like gender bias still exist to date, but
Mhm.
that's the reality of life, and we have to
Yeah.
battle through it. So one of the things that I have come to learn, uh, growing from being a university student up to now, is that we as women and we as young people in technology have to take up space. And for you to take up space, I'm sure you have to have a small amount of confidence in what you're doing. And
Correct.
what gives you confidence is the skill that you have. So for women and for young people, um, do your homework and get these skills that other people in the industry also have, since this is what will give you confidence to stand up and speak up in these places that you feel you do not belong. So speak up, get those technical skills, and also don't shy away from just raising up your hand and asking questions, or volunteering to do things, volunteering to take up leadership roles, since doing that trains your mind that you are supposed to be doing this, and you're supposed to be occupying this space. And with that, I think you will get there. Although I have to mention that not all these things come naturally. You have to be very consistent in them, and you have to like give yourself grace. When you fail, just get up, dust yourself, and continue going.
Okay, and as we know, like you born and brought up in Kenya, and then later you shifted to Turkey for the job and for your other professional things, right? So, how was your
Mm.
experience while transitioning from Kenya to Turkey? Like, did you face any kind of cultural difference here, or any challenges did you faced here?
Okay, so transitioning from Kenya to Turkey to the different places that I've been in, yeah, it's not been a walk in the park. There have
Mm-hmm.
been challenges, and most of those challenges have been related to adapting, and my mind being stubborn, that I want the same things that were in Kenya should be in Turkey, in Dubai. So just adapting. But after the first few months, like after the first 3 months, I came to learn that, okay, people are different and people have different cultures. And in
Right.
the same process, I also gave myself grace to understand that I am also different to these people. So these people are also trying to adapt to me. So in the process of just understanding people and also being very interactive with people, especially, you see, coming from a real technical background and joining something like logistics and freight forwarding,
Mm-hmm.
I was used to just interacting with computers, interacting with systems, and not being very conversational with people. But that's one skill that I have come to learn, and it has become very essential in my life. So I take it like a social engineering spree, and I just talk to people, get to learn more about them, get to learn where they grew up, and knowing people really simplifies all the environments that you'll always be in.
Okay, all right. And if we talk bit about the Kenya IT industry future, so how you think like how the things are evolving there, like in the next upcoming years or maybe the current scenarios. If we talk about the IT industry in Kenya.
Okay, so the IT industry in Kenya is one which really evolves very fast, and it's one which accepts
Mm-hmm.
new opportunities. And just looking at what people talk about in different social platforms like LinkedIn and X, that's Twitter,
Yeah.
I think they are becoming appreciative of technologies like generative AI. So that's a current thing that's happening. And one of the other thing is I feel they are becoming more appreciative and they're really working to get more skills now, more skills which are needed in the job market and the job industry. So
Mhm.
that's a few of the things that are happening. And then the other thing is definitely tech communities. Tech communities are big in Kenya. So
Okay.
tech communities will continue to evolve and they will continue to happen. Tech events, tech meetups will continue to happen. And then the other thing that I also have to mention is that since the industry was younger a few years ago, the industry is now mature such that when people are trying to find learning resources or they're trying to find programs to learn a certain thing, they are able to give back to the community in terms of reviews to tell them that, okay, this course is good, or if you're trying to learn something new, don't waste your time on this course. There is an authenticity that's also coming up, which is really great.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's talk bit about the content creation and community building because you have been involved in researching and writing for a very long time about information security. So, what topic do you find the most compelling, and how do you think that written content can continue to growth of the tech industry?
Okay, so I think my answer on that is definitely somehow biased since I love giving back to the community.
Hmm.
And one other aspect that is also part of the community is these people who are not in tech and these people who are not in cybersecurity. So I love creating content and writing content that is educative to these people who are in non-technical backgrounds, trying to educate them how they can be hacked, how their personal data can be stolen, how they can secure their organizations and their companies better. Since for people who are in tech and for people who are in cybersecurity, most of them know all these things. So I love educating these people who are also non-technical. And another niche that I have come to be interested in is training, is something like user training on tech. Since you'll be surprised at how tech is really frightening to some people, especially in companies. Let's say you're trying to roll out a new tool and people don't want it because they're used to the previous tool, then why are you trying to bring this new tool? So great technical training and having great content out there helps these people to learn these new things.
All right. Okay. All right. So let's talk about your mentorship and personal life. So who has been at the most important, impactful mentor for you, or maybe the role model in your career, like and what lessons did you learn from them?
Okay. I have, thankfully, I have several people who have contributed to my career, both professionally and non-professionally, who I'm really grateful for. And one of those people is called Ibrahim Gadungu.
Mm-hmm.
So his mentorship to me has been a not so what is the word to use? It's different. It's different kind of mentorship. And one thing that I have learned from him is to always put yourself out there and to always
Okay.
have a personal brand. That's it. That's really important. So whether it's on social media, whether it's offering to speak, having that personal brand is really important. And I've learned from him over the years. And he has been my mentor way back from when I was in school, during that COVID time when I was finding myself now. So he has been a key aspect of my career. The other person on a professional way is Charles Mwendwa. So Charles was my colleague when I was doing telecommunications. You
Hmm.
see, I told you I was doing information technology and
Yeah.
then I shifted to telecommunications. And definitely, I didn't know most of the things in telecommunications. And this is when I also started working professionally now in a real serious working environment where you have KPIs and you have things that you have performance standards that you have to meet. So he really taught me a lot of things from Excel, simple things like doing the lookups and having that data analytical mind in doing your work where you know what you're supposed to do, but then taking the good thing out of this work that you're supposed to do, and then finding a system that will make sure that you do all this work very fast and very efficiently. So that was really impactful. And most of those skills, almost all of them, I use up to date in every place I go. And then the other person is Joylene Kirui. She's the one who recommended me to be a Microsoft Cloud Security MVP. So
Okay.
that was really impactful for me. And I look up to her in terms of what she does for the community, not only in Kenya, but globally. Those people have been really impactful, and other people who I know I have not mentioned.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's take the last question. Although like there are many things that we can discuss here, but just because of the
Yeah,
limitation of time, yeah.
yeah.
And the question is related to your hobbies. So are there any specific activities you engage in that helps you to maintain a balanced life between your professional and personal life?
Okay. I know people in tech joke that there can never be a balance, but we always try to find that balance. So as I mentioned, I have been moving from different places in the past few months. And one thing that I have been finding really interesting is touring new places,
Mm-hmm.
especially during the weekends, just having a list of places that I'm supposed to visit, just looking at people, how people behave in these new places, what's their food like, what's their public transportation like. That has been really interesting for me. And
Okay.
once in a while, when I'm in Kenya, just doing outdoor stuff like hiking. And when I don't feel like going outside, I try to watch movies and maybe YouTube or just social media, TikToks.
Mm-hmm.
I know we are that generation. And also uh, being consistent with learning. Yeah,
Okay. All right. So thank you so much, Margaret, for joining us today in this episode and for sharing so much information with us. I hope you also enjoyed the discussion and thank you once again for being a part of the show.
thank you so much. I really love doing this.
Thank you.